You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Rose is your name, but when you poop it sure don't smell like roses. Your number 2 burns the hair in my nose, but we fought hand in paw. Now your poop don't stink at all. Now that the air is clear, I'll treasure your front and rear, my sweet Rose.
Instantly neutralize poop stink with Poop Fighter from World's Best Cat Litter for the world's best cat.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here again to, really get into the sources you send us, pull them apart a bit, and find those insights that hopefully resonate with you. Today, we're diving into a story that, well, it sounds like just a bit of fun on the surface, but I'm really curious to see what's bubbling underneath. We're talking about community, creativity, maybe how we handle the unexpected. The source is this really charming narrative called The Water Balloon Bandits of Sunnyville. And our mission, like always, is to unpack it. See if there's a sort of blueprint in there for, turning chaos into connection, or maybe just seeing disruption differently. So let's set the scene. Picture Sunnyville. It's the hottest day of the year, apparently, like really oppressive heat. The source says kids are sprawled across the playground like melted popsicles, just zero energy. Then, right out of that quiet lethargy, splat. A water balloon just explodes near Max the raccoon, soaks his tail, and like a second later, kaploosh. Another one hits Lily, the human character, right on the head. You can just imagine her dripping, gasping. Who's doing this? Totally confused, right?
Right. And it's that sudden shift, isn't it? From like total boredom to this abrupt kind of startling event. Lily's reaction, who's doing this?
Yeah.
It's not just surprise. It's that very human response to something unexpected, maybe even slightly aggressive, changing her immediate world. It's a vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
What's really interesting, I think, is how quickly the story takes that moment, that sort of negative input, and reframes it.
Yeah, and it escalates fast. Because then the big reveal happens. The text says, out from behind the jungle gym popped 3 mysterious figures. Mm-hmm. And they're not just messing around. They've got a look. Wearing sunglasses, capes made of beach towels, and buckets strapped to their backs. It's almost theatrical. They even announce themselves, "We are the Water Balloon Bandits." And they're mobile, zoomed around on scooters, launching water balloons with pool noodle slingshots.
Yeah.
The effect is instant. Chaos. No one was safe. Not the kids, not the parents. Even the hot dog guy gets it. Though, it says he laughed as mustard dripped off his nose. Mm-hmm. That detail kind of stuck with me. Like maybe even then there was a hint it wasn't really hostile. Just disruptive fun.
Well, yeah, perhaps. But before that laugh, there's definitely panic.
Oh, absolutely. At first, everyone panicked, running in circles, just trying to get away, like Lily. But then, here's the turn, but then Max the raccoon got an idea. That's the moment.
A key moment.
And he just shouts, "If we can't beat them, let's join them." And Lily, who is just dripping and confused, she's immediately in, grabs buckets, starts filling them, and boom, the whole playground flips. It becomes an all-out splash battle.
And that pivot, from panic to play, all sparked by Max's really simple but kind of profound idea. That really highlights our first key takeaway here. What seems like a threat or, a challenge can actually become an opportunity for something totally new, a new way to engage. It's basically cognitive reframing in action, right? Changing how you see a situation changes how you feel about it, what you do about it. For those kids, getting wet suddenly wasn't the problem. It was the point of the game. And that transformation, it's a small example, sure, but it shows how a group can become adaptable. A simple idea, people joining in. It fosters that resilience, works on playgrounds, works in organizations.
That's a really neat way to put it, threat to game. But, what was it about this specific disruption that allowed for that positive reframing? I mean, was it just because it was water balloons on a hot day? Or was it something about how the bandits presented themselves? The capes and sunglasses? Did that signal play?
That's a great question. I think it's probably both, really. The stakes were low, right? Getting wet on a hot day isn't a huge deal. Annoying, maybe, but not harmful. And yeah, the performance aspect, you mentioned the capes, the name, the scooters, it does signal playfulness rather than real aggression. If it had been, I don't know, rocks instead of water balloons, or if the bandits were genuinely menacing, that reframing would have been way harder, and maybe impossible. So the context, the shared understanding of what water balloons mean in that setting, it allowed for that quick mental shift. It really shows how the nature of the disruption, how the instigators frame it, shapes the response.
Okay, that makes sense. So once they made that mental jump, once it was a game, wow, the creativity just exploded. The source describes it so well. The bandits laughed and whooped as kids formed teams, strategized, and invented wild new water balloon games. It wasn't just chaos anymore. It became organized, imaginative. They came up with stuff like catch the splash, slippery soccer, which sounds amazing, and balloon dodge tag. You can almost feel the energy, hear the laughter. It shows how working together, using your imagination, can just elevate something simple.
Absolutely. And that brings us right to the second insight, really, that this kind of structured play, even if it starts from mischief, is brilliant for building social bonds and sparking really creative solutions. What's fascinating is you see these emergent properties. Simple actions like throwing balloons lead to complex organized things, like inventing new games. The disruption itself almost became like playful rules, constraints that push them to innovate. It's a fantastic example of collective intelligence, Instead of fighting the new rules, they ran with them, co-created something even better.
That's interesting. The idea that the attack actually created structure instead of just destroying it, does that mean sometimes you actually need a bit of that external shakeup to break out of old habits and find new ways to collaborate? Like maybe being too comfortable actually stops that kind of creativity until things get mixed up.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Often, routines, even good ones, can lead to a kind of stagnation, inertia. The water balloon bandits, they were like a little shock to the system. They forced everyone to rethink how they used the playground, how they interacted. They introduced this new problem. What do we do about these guys? And that led to new solutions. And importantly, collaborative solutions.
Yeah.
This isn't just kid stuff. It's a principle you see everywhere. In complex systems, sometimes a bit of disruption, if it's the right kind, is exactly what's needed for innovation and positive change.
What a day it turned out to be. The story wraps up with this great image. By the time the sun set, everyone was drenched, giggling, and too tired to throw another balloon. Not just the kids, everyone. And the bandits, they take off their sunglasses, they bow and declare, mission complete. Sunnyville is officially the coolest town of the summer.
Yeah.
But the best part for me is that it wasn't just a one-off. The source says, from then on, every summer included the annual water balloon bandit games, where being wet wasn't a problem, it was the point. So what started as this surprise attack became this cherished tradition.
And that evolution from a spontaneous splash fight to an annual ritual, that's incredibly telling. It leads straight into our third insight. Shared positive experiences, especially ones that involve, laughter, silliness, a break from the norm. They're incredibly powerful for building community. It's more than just fun. There's this sociological idea, collective effervescence, where sharing strong emotions together really binds a group, reinforces that sense of the water balloon bandit games became that for Sunnyville. A yearly reminder of that shared experience, turning that initial chaos into something that actually built social capital, community spirit.
Okay, but why the shift to a ritual? What does making it a tradition add compared to just remembering that one crazy day? Does the predictability strengthen the bonds more?
Oh, absolutely. That's a key point. Moving from a single event to a tradition adds layers. It adds anticipation, continuity. A one-off event creates a great memory, sure, but a repeated tradition. That creates shared history, shared expectations. It becomes part of Sunnyville's story, something they look forward to, something that gets passed on. So the annual games aren't just about getting wet. They're about remembering together, reinforcing that collective identity. This is something we do in Sunnyville. That's how communities build that deeper sense of belonging and character over time. So really, the big lesson seems to be that, even a bit of mischief can spark something magical. If you approach disruption with openness, if you share the joy, let creativity flow. A simple splash can become an amazing memory, or even, like here, a lasting tradition. The bandits, with their playful chaos, they didn't just cool people off. They accidentally created this space where community, creativity, and just pure fun could thrive, turning a hot, boring day into something legendary.
Wow. What a fantastic deep dive that was into the water balloon bandits of Sunnyville. We went from this image of kids basically melting on a playground through confusion, panic, and that brilliant decision to just join in, and ended up with this amazing community tradition. It's such a cool reminder, isn't it? How a little unexpected disruption, if you manage to reframe it, embrace it, maybe even channel it, it can lead to really positive, lasting stuff. It's not just about water balloons, clearly. It's about connection and finding new ways to, well, thrive together.
So maybe something to think about is this. Your own life, or maybe your community, or even at work. Is there some element that feels disruptive, maybe even a bit mischievous? Could you potentially look at it differently, reframe it? What challenge could be flicked? See not as just an obstacle, but maybe an opening for play, or a new connection, or maybe even a surprising new tradition. How can we all maybe tap into that Sunnyville spirit, turn a challenge into a game, and see if we can make a little magic happen ourselves?
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Lowe's knows how to get you ready for holiday hosting with up to 35% off select home decor. And get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, members get free delivery, haul away, basic installation, parts, and a 2-year Lowe's protection plan when you spend $2,500 or more on select LG major appliances. Valid through 10/1. Member offer excludes Massachusetts, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Jersey, and Florida. Installed by independent contractors. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.